In the heart of downtown Atlanta, where marble lobbies meet polished shoes, one moment shattered the illusion of luxury and revealed a deeper truth. It began with a boy in a hoodie and a receptionist with a snap judgment. What followed would echo across boardrooms, courtrooms, and communities. This is not just a story about power, it's about perception, dignity, and what happens when respect is denied at the door. Elijah Romero stepped into the marble-floored lobby of the Bell Ridge Grand Hotel, the heavy glass doors closing behind him with a hushed click. He wore a simple hoodie and jeans, his curls a bit tousled from the Atlanta wind, but his gaze steady. The lobby was awash of soft jazz, golden chandeliers, and hushed voices. People walked past him without a second glance except for one. Behind the reception desk stood Marla Whitcomb, a woman in her late 30s with a stiff posture and a gaze sharp enough to cut glass. Her eyes landed on Elijah like he was a stain on the carpet. "Excuse me," she said, her voice clipped and icy. "Can I help you with something?" Elijah approached the desk, calm but firm. "Yes, ma'am. I'm here to meet my father, Ignacio Romero. He is expecting me." Marla arched an eyebrow. "And you are Elijah, his son," she scoffed, subtle but scornful. "Right. Listen, kid, this hotel isn't a hangout. If you're delivering something, leave it here. Otherwise, I'm going to have to ask you to step outside." "I'm not delivering anything," Elijah replied, his tone even. "I'm a guest. I have a meeting upstairs." Marla shifted to block the computer monitor with her body, her expression tightening. "We don't let people loiter, especially not in hoodies. You're making the other guests uncomfortable." A woman sitting nearby, Tanya Reese, instinctively reached for her phone. Something about the tone in Marla's voice made her gut clench. She hit record. Elijah didn't argue. He simply pulled out his phone and called his father. "Hey, Dad," he said quietly. "I'm here, but the receptionist won't let me up." 3 minutes later, the elevator opened with a soft ding. Out stepped a man whose presence shifted the air. Ignacio Romero, mid-40s, tailored suit, salt and pepper beard. The kind of man who carried a room without saying a word. He moved with quiet force toward the front desk. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, eyes locking on Marla. Marla straightened. "This young man was loitering. He claimed to be your son." Ignacio's stare didn't waver. Claimed Elijah gave a wry smile. "Told her. Dad." The silence that followed was thick. Guests looked up from their laptops and cocktails. Marla opened her mouth to speak, but Ignacio cut her off. "You had options," he said calmly. "You could have asked. You could have checked. Instead, you chose judgment, sir." "I didn't know." "No," he interrupted again. "You didn't care to know." The quiet murmur of the lobby grew louder. Tanya stepped forward and played the video on her phone. Marla's words rang out clearly. The shift in the atmosphere was instant. Ignacio turned to Elijah. "Come on, we're already late." Marla stood frozen. "Wait, please, I didn't mean—" "You did," Ignacio said. "And now you'll live with it." As Elijah and Ignacio walked toward the elevator, Ignacio turned once more. "You're suspended. Effective immediately. HR will follow up." Elijah thought that would be the end of it, but it was only the beginning. By nightfall, the video had gone viral, not just because of the confrontation, but because of who Elijah was. A 15-year-old, calm, polite, and also the heir to a hotel empire. Social media exploded, hashtags flew, debates raged. But for Elijah, the real firestorm was internal. He sat in his father's penthouse suite later that evening, staring out at the glittering city. "I didn't want to become a symbol," he said quietly. Ignacio poured 2 glasses of water and handed one to his son. You didn't. You just were yourself. That's what made it powerful. She looked at me like I didn't belong. Elijah whispered, I've never felt that small. Ignacio sat beside him. The worst kind of injustice is the one wrapped in politeness. The kind people excuse because it doesn't shout. But today, you showed restraint. You reminded everyone what quiet strength looks like. But it wasn't quiet anymore. Days passed. Media requests poured in. Elijah stayed out of it, but others didn't. Civil rights groups called for policy changes in the hospitality industry. Belridge Grand faced scrutiny. Former employees came forward with similar stories of bias. And then came the twist no one expected. Marla filed a wrongful termination lawsuit. She claimed defamation, emotional distress, and racial discrimination against her. She made me feel like the criminal, Elijah said, reading the legal papers over his father's shoulder. How does she spin this? She's not spinning it, Ignacio said. Her lawyers are. The case went public. News anchors dissected every frame of Tanya's video. Lawyers debated consent, bias, and employer responsibility. But amidst the legal noise, a quieter truth emerged. Marla gave an exclusive interview. No makeup, no prepared statement, just raw, trembling honesty. I judged him, she said. I saw a hoodie and not a human. I made assumptions because I thought I was protecting something. But I was only protecting my own comfort. Not the hotel, not the guests, and certainly not the truth. Her words echoed across television sets, podcasts, and town halls. For Elijah, it didn't feel like justice. Not exactly. But it felt like a start. 3 weeks later, Elijah stood in front of a packed high school auditorium. It was a community forum, hosted by the Romero Foundation, a new nonprofit his father had launched in Elijah's name to combat implicit bias in customer-facing industries. Elijah took a breath and stepped to the mic. I'm not here because I'm rich, he began. I'm not here because someone recorded a video. I'm here because I was judged before I even opened my mouth. And that happens to people who don't have a camera rolling, who don't have a father who owns the building. That's who we need to fight for. Applause. Not thunderous, but honest. Later that night, Ignacio put a hand on Elijah's shoulder. You did good, son. Elijah looked up. I'm not done. I know, Ignacio said. Neither am I. They looked out over the city together, two silhouettes in a world learning, slowly, how to listen. The Belridge Grand still shines at night. The chandeliers still sparkle. But the name means something different now. Not luxury, legacy. Not silence, voice, and not just gold, dignity.